Today we chat with Tim Lee. He started his career as an engineer, became a risk manager, then later an executive at financial services company, and now he's the founder at LendAPI. Let's unpack that a little bit more. He started as an engineer at Intel. He moved into risk management at JP Morgan. Later, he took a senior role at Loan Depot, advised Rocket Loans, and since 2018, he's been building companies. Right now, he's focused on building LendAPI. Here's how they describe themselves on LinkedIn. A complete DIY platform with a product studio, rule studio, variable model builder, as well as a pricing engine, and all your favorite integrated partners to launch any fintech product in minutes. Let's dig into this discussion with Tim. Tim, good morning. It's good to see you again.
Good morning.
Let's jump right in. So, what problem do you solve for lenders?
So the problem that we solve for lenders is time and go to market. So we have this tool that can build any type of products. You can launch them instantly. Instead of 2 years, 20 people, $2 million of technology spent, you could just grab an account, pick a template, launch your product. Could be personal loans all the way to mortgages. That saves a lot of time. You can go to market quicker. Everything's private labeled. You can customize everything. Just makes it a whole lot easier for fintechs to launch, banks to launch new products, and other people that wants to be a fintech to go to market, because we essentially destroy that barriers of entry for, at least on the technology side.
So are you talking about like marketing flows? Are you talking about like something deeper in the stack? Like unpack that a little bit for us.
Yeah.
What pieces do you bring to the table?
Yeah, a lot of marketing flows, yeah, and also, sort of deep lending technology as far as like credit, underwriting, decisioning, things like that. So on the marketing side, that's the first thing that our clients bring up. We buy leads online, we do direct mail, we have a 6, 7 storefronts. All of these are sort of driving traffic to the website or the POS machine. So we constantly have to deliver our lead generation or lead buy, we call them lead buy APIs to all these lead generators. We see thousands of leads every probably minute to support the growth of our client. And on the direct mail side, there's lots of promo codes that we have to implement, lots of listing services that we have to sort of match up to people that receive the letter, match them to the account, and create a different experience for those direct mail folks. Storefront wise, we have a lot of interactions built on our system where people come in and shop. You could be selling furnitures, mattresses, whatever it might be. And there's a bit of interaction between the system and the consumer after or during their shopping experience. So we deal with most of this platform is probably dealing with sort of a face-to-face, hand-to-hand combat with our consumers or the prospects.
Got it.
Yeah.
So are you hosting my underwriting model? Is that part of it? And if
Yes.
so, is it the soft inquiry? Is it the hard inquiry? Is it both? Like where do you live in the flow?
Yeah, so great question. So we would deal with the marketing flow or the lead flow, and then it goes into a pretty deep credit underwriting. So we host credit underwriting for everybody. If they don't want to, we can ping their black box, but most of the time they host all of their credit underwriting, the if then else logic, the machine learning models. Some people have these really crazy, Amazon SageMaker AI models live in our system, where we have to, map the input outputs of these models. In addition to that, we also host all the pricing algorithms. If they're approved, what are they approved for, how long, how much, any fees attached to it. We have all of that. And if and when the client selects a certain type of offer, all of that gets imprinted onto a promissory note or a contract or something like that from the e-sign. So we take them all the way to the point where we need to drop this loan or a file into a bank core or a loan management system.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you talk to all three bureaus? Only some of them? Like what connectivity do you have?
Yeah, I didn't answer the question about soft and hard inquiry. I was just talking to a client right before this about soft and hard inquiry. We could do both. Lots of people prefer soft inquiry all the way through, or bureau wants you to do the soft inquiry, and when the loan is consummated, do a hard inquiry. For what it's worth, I don't think there's any law around that. It just so some people feel like they need to get paid twice. So we could do all of that. And then to do that, obviously, for all the lender friends, you got to get 2 different member IDs, one for soft inquiry, one for hard inquiry. But we do talk to all three bureaus. We do talk to all the tri-bureau merge guys out there. We're pretty much connected to everybody, the prime bureaus and the subprime bureaus. And now the new thing is cash flow analytics and
Hmm.
cash flow underwriting bureaus, if you want to call them that.
Got it. What other products, services are kind of adjacent, or do you view as competitive? I'm trying to get a feel for how do you view yourself in the landscape relative to maybe a Monevo or someone else. Someone else that kind of hosts models in the category.
Yeah, so you mentioned Monevo, which is really interesting. So they are more of a conduit between lenders and other lenders, if you will, right? So a lot of originators, they lend on their own with their own money, and of the ones that can't or out of their capacity, they'll ping a Monevo to see if they can get a SoFi, a bond, or whatever lending club loan. We are almost like a generic uh, versions of a Momnivo. If you want to build on Momnivo, you can certainly do that with our system. But that's not really our business to do matching. Where our business to launch products for, embedded finance guys. Basically people selling furnitures or bikes or whatever it might be, want to do their pay in four, and want to build their own Affirm or Snap Finance, right?
Hmm.
They don't want to. They want
Got it.
to collect their own interest rates and fees and all that stuff. And or for just unsecured personal loan guys who wants to launch a new product, and or banks who wants to launch a new unsecured personal loans product backed by, payroll deduction. They can use this
Yep.
whole system to build all of that out. All the third parties, like we mentioned earlier, the bureaus, the Plaza of the worlds are all connected. You just put your credentials in there and lights up the connection. All of the marketing flow or the application flow, it's drag and drop experience, just like WordPress.
Hmm.
And it sits on top of our rules builder decision engine. So in between pages or right behind the continue button on these pages, it goes
Hmm.
right into the decision engine to write that rule, whether it's KYC, KYB, or credit underwriting. And it will take you again all the way to the page where they had to sign, yeah, I agree to this product, and it will get jammed into the bank servicing tool or the lender's loan management system.
Got it. So is your customer base primarily personal loan? Is it card? Like where does it skew as far as product category?
Yeah, so when we launched this company about a year ago, actually just over a year ago, we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary. Our thought is that the target audience is, the 10,000 banks, the 5,000 fintechs, in North America. But now we're walking into this whole embedded finance world where these brands, I just learned this keyword this over the weekend talking to an advisor, these brands would just log into our system and start building stuff. So I can't name names, but we have this marine equipment financing company. It's the biggest one. Logged in, I'm like, wow, what are they doing? Had a conversation with their CEO executive team. They say, well, we need to bring this financing application online. I'm like, what are we competing with, or what are we replacing? Excel. So they have hundreds of thousands of applications coming in, financing these, potentially like $250,000, half to $2 million boats, if you will, and they're doing it in Excel. And it's a full-blown 1003 application, essentially, because it's a $2 million boat, $2 million home. They're essentially asking the same question. And it's all done on Excel, on Word documents and things like that. And I think they spent 20, 30 minutes per file and figured out that this person doesn't qualify, and there's 90 of them still left over for the day, right? So it has nothing to do really with fintech or lender. They do financing because they have 10 different banks behind them to finance these type of equipment. But they somehow just doesn't have a thing. Because I think the the psychology there is that while I'm doing a $2-3 million sort of like financing, doing Excel work is okay, right? But I think
Mm.
I think they finally figured out that if in order to grow their company, they have to use a tool like LendAPI to get them up and running quickly, potentially have 10 different applications for different storefronts, for brokers of these equipment and their online presence. And we can do, multiple styles of applications or stages of applications for all these marketing channels, if you will.
So this lender you're describing, were they processing these over the phone? Is that's kind of what it sounds like, or
Yeah,
was this like a Google form they were sending customer? Like walk me through the current state here. I don't
yeah,
really
so I think
get.
they work with a lot of brokers, right? They talk
Got
to
it.
these, fancy clients, what kind of,
Sure.
whatever they want. I think the brokers actually type them into an Excel file.
Oh, so it's like a face-to-face interaction, and I'm in a broker. And okay,
Phone,
got
face
it.
to face. Maybe they have
Yeah,
visited some showrooms, right? But it's all transmitted as an attachment, right? So then the broker toss it
got
over
it.
to whatever, and the underwriting department looks it over. They may have some Salesforce things for CRM, but the core of it, they have to go to another system, pull credit down to the file, adjudicate it manually. It sounds like 2001 again, but
Mhm.
it's still happening out there. To answer your question, the 5,000 banks, 10,000 or the 10,000 banks, 5,000 fintechs now turn into 30 million small businesses, right? That a firm or Snap Finance may not be able to service because just the ticket size is not right, either too big, too small. So what are they going to do, right? I just got back from FinTech Meetup. I talked to these giant, digital banking software providers, and they work with a lot of banks, and the banks are telling their big commercial clients, you know, hey, don't use a firm, don't use anything that like that. My technology is sort of, partner is going to find solutions for you guys to do this yourself, because these banks don't want to lose their commercial clients to a firm, to a Snap Finance. They want to control that relationship. So, but I don't think there's a lot of software that does not just the embedded, a pop-up kind of an embedded checkout flow, which we do, and also all the decisioning, all the connectivity to all the third parties, and also be able to deliver that file to any one of their 10 banks in this, back to that example.
Got it. So
Yeah.
this marine finance company, and I have a feeling it's like a Yamaha or a
It's
Honda or
it's
like
not a marine finance, it's just marine equipment dealer.
marine equipment dealer. Got it.
Just
So
just
what struck me about your comment was they somehow were using your product before you were even aware they were a customer. Like, walk me. Is this like an open API? Like, how's your go to market work?
yes. So I think we're the only one out there that has a sign up button. And we're the only one out there that has pricing on our website, which is really strange. Well, to me. So the way I sort of designed this platform is that we sort of took a page from GoDaddy, WordPress. The analogy I want to make is, we're all at probably the same vintage. 20 plus years ago, if you want to build a
Mhm.
website, you got to hire a webmaster. Remember that job? That job doesn't exist anymore. I
Mhm.
was a webmaster for somebody. Um,
I remember that in like the 98,
98,
99
99,
summer
I was
jobs. That's what I was
right.
doing.
I was doing like HTML for people. Anyways,
Yeah.
so now if you think about it, so what do I have to do to build a website? I go to GoDaddy, get a domain, WordPress, or I go to Squarespace, I go to Wix, or whatever it might be, right? And it should be templated. Anybody, even my mother, could probably put something together over the weekend. So we are bringing the same experience to fintech bank or whatever brands that they can come in and just do it themselves. So we build and build and build and build a platform where people can sign up, log in, have the canvas, and start building. If you ever use Framer or Figma or Webflow, it's kind of that kind of a thing. But behind it is a sophisticated decision engine that has all the third parties plugged in. So
Got it.
yes, people sign up every day. They sign up, start using it. We have to chase after them. Hey, what's the problem? What's the
Mhm.
do we have all the solutions for you? So it opens up a lot of opportunities for us, right? So our go to market strategy is, one of them is just click on the sign up button, start using it. We have 14-day plus free trial, so they can experience it, and we have a lot of videos on our website to coach you how to use the tool. So we're
Yeah.
building tools for you to build tools.
I want to pause here for a second to tell you about one of our sponsors, Spinwheel. They've built an API that streamlines your lending application form with just 2 fields. When a customer shares just their birth date and phone number, they can go grab all the information needed to pre-fill their application form. So regardless of what channel you play in, you know that the higher the application rate goes, the lower your cost of acquisition becomes, and the more media you can buy to generate growth. Additionally, they can give you real-time verified consumer credit data and seamless payment processing, which can help you serve customers beyond the initial application. To see a demo, go to spinwheel.io or check out the link in the show notes. It'll hook you up straight with their head of growth. How do they hear about you? Like, what are they Googling? How are they like I'm very interested in how this all, because if I'm that marine finance, how do I know you
How do
exist?
they
How do
find
I
out
know what you
about us,
do?
right?
Like,
Yeah, so
yeah.
there's the three or four different ways. One of them is, I'll tell you this funny story. I'm not a marketer. I'm just a, glorified software engineer. when I started LendAPI, I had the same question. How did people find out about us? So every day I go to work, there's about a 15-20 minute drive. I'll just pick a random YouTube video on SEO. At least I know that much, and just start listening to it while I'm driving. And they're all talking about the same thing, right? Keywords, long tail words, backlink, I'm like, I can start writing blogs, right? That's not a big deal, right? I can start writing this stuff. I know how this thing kind of works, but who's gonna backlink to us? It's like this is as a dry as piece of software as it gets, right? Who cares about a loan origination system decision engine? So, and in that, there's one episode I was listening to. I don't know who it was. Just one of the episodes. I got pretty deep in that, YouTube search, and the guy said, if you're brand new, I'm like, okay, my ears are perking up now, right? If you're brand new, doesn't nobody knows you, right? You don't have any credibility, then you got to be the source. I'm like, source, okay, a source of knowledge. You write a bunch of blogs, but what else can I do pertaining to LendAPI? And I thought deeply about who we are in the grand scheme of this community or ecosystem. I said, well, for us and for our clients to be successful, we have to be integrated with just about everybody that supplies KYC, KYB, like we mentioned, all the Plaza of the world, all the loan management system, all of that, right? And so I created this thing called Marketplace, not a brand new concept. So we started talking to our partners. Hey, would you like to list yourself on a marketplace? Um, we have different categories for credit bureaus, all the way to identity verification, fraud detection, all that stuff, right? So we started adding people to it. And this marketplace has become a go-to marketplace now for people that want to search for solutions. Even if they don't use LendAPI, at least we have, kind of put together a compendium of third-party vendors that you will use to launch something on your own, essentially a fintech product. And I saw a X post a couple of months ago. It was a fintech VC. He's saying, hey, I found a go-to source for my new investments, and maybe you saw that as well. It's LendAPI's marketplace. I'm like, wait, it's not really used for that way, but go ahead. It's all good. It's a public thing, right? But what we also found that was kind of interesting is that it sort of elevates our SEO ranking as well. So, for example, if somebody searches for TransUnion, our name shows up because they're part of our marketplace, right? So that's my intentional or
Mhm.
unintentional hack. The
Yeah.
other stuff is that, I'm pretty active on social media. The only social media I really have is LinkedIn. I've been on that as long as you have 16 plus years, maxed out on LinkedIn. I didn't know until I hit the ceiling of 30,000 connections. And I've tried to protect that as much as I can and present information that people will find either useful or curious, right? So I think people find out about me or about our company through that channel as well. Plus the shows, this lovely podcast we're on right now, all of that really helps, I think. It's just and we do have a lot of word of mouth now. People talk to other people about our service, either our current clients or potential clients. We have referrals every day. We have people signing onto our website every day. Now we're talking to channel distribution channel partners that can take us in front of immediately 10,000 banks or X, Y, and Z. So these are some things that we're leveraging that's very useful for us.
One of the things I'm finding fascinating about this listening, and I'll make a statement, you tell me if it's true or not, but it sounds like I can go into your marketplace, build a decisioning model that uses all three bureaus, potentially other data sources, and I never have to talk to TU or Experian or like I could just go in, use your canvas, hit go, and I'm done.
That's
Is
right.
that's what it
Yeah,
sounded like? Is that
yeah.
accurate?
We launch people sometimes over a weekend. Integrating with TransUnion Experience, integrating one of these sometimes takes somebody 6 months to do. Just one connection, and then what? You got to build rules. What do I do then, right? And if you hard code these rules, your business is constrained. What if I want to change it? What if I want to run multiple rules, A/B testing? What do we do? We have all those functionalities in our system. So when we talk to these personas within these businesses, right? A CTO will say, "My God, Tim, you just saved my ass. I hate to build this stuff. I built it before. I don't ever want to do it again."
Mhm.
And if you talk to a chief credit officer, risk officer, be like, "Oh my God, you have all the tools that I've been dreaming of. I can finally do all this stuff now, right? And you see a product guy is like, okay, I can actually design unlimited numbers of products, essentially applications, and run A/B test or give the unique application to each one of our brokers, your tenancy process. Yes. So the product guys, the risk guys, and the technologists, right, all sort of feast on this thing to say, yeah, this is finally something that's going to save us a lot of time, free up our resource so they can go to entertain all the mattress people or all to
Hmm.
doctors or lawyers or whatever it might be, right? Build
Yeah.
out that kind of layers of technology to make their business stand out. The competitiveness is not to prove to your VCs that you can build a
Mhm.
decision engine. That
Sure.
stuff is commoditized, or build a workflows. Like, you should be able to build a workflow every day to kind of test things out.
What
You know,
if I'm a founder, let's say I'm a fintech founder and I just raised my VC check, my
right?
pre-seed. I have $3 million in the
Yep.
bank, and I'm just gonna run with personal loans because I think
Yep.
it's a little simpler than credit cards. Credit
Yep.
cards gets a little bit more, but let's say personal loans, okay?
Yep.
It sounds like you have a lot of the rails I would need to get up and running, but what would
That
I need to bring to the table? Like, very tactically,
yeah.
what do I need to have ready before I approach you to start
Yes.
building products?
Yes. Now, typically, you need an account with Plaid, these workflow underwriting, and you need to find a loan servicing software. Those are two things you need.
Give me an example of the loan servicing
Well, we
softwares.
work with a lot of them. There's Loan Pro, Totality, Answers, etc. Um, Gosh, I'm forgetting some. Peach, Canopy, right? All of these are,
Okay.
the constellations of LMSs out there. And if you really want to do credit, you can sign up with TransUnion or whatever, get a credential there. TransUnion, Plaid, Peach. That's all you need. And you just need the credentials. We already have the APIs already built. You don't need to mess around with their API documents, or you actually don't need to hire any engineers, at least for this side of the business. Your
Mhm.
engineers can focus on building a really nice website, or focus on your lead generation, or direct mail,
Huh?
pizzazz, whatever it might be. Behind the apply button, all the way to dropping that file to your LMS, we take care of it. And the total cost of ownership is probably 1/1000th of what you would do yourself. And I can't even tell you how much time you're saving. It's literally the whole analogy of webmaster versus GoDaddy. you know
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
the span of 20 years, we went from paying somebody 3 months to probably complete something over a weekend, on a Sunday afternoon.
Got it. So I need those.
Yeah.
I know I need those things you described. I also probably need a lending license, my debt facilities. I need working capital, right,
Yeah,
to actually start lending money.
that's right. So a lot of people are, if they come to our website, if they search deep enough on Google, they may have,
Mhm.
some of their own capital lined up, and they may have one or two state license already lined up, or
Got it.
they may start just taking for payments without any licensing. And there are a lot of states you can lend without lending licenses, right? There's like, Texas, Florida, New York. You can, if you go below 14% APR interest rate, check with your lawyers. Um, without a license, there's a lot of states that you don't need a lending license to lend if
Interesting.
you stay below a certain APR
Interesting.
interest rate. Yeah.
So given what you know about the ecosystem, let's go back to that scenario. I'm the pre-seed founder. I
Yep.
just raised my $3 million. The
Well,
VC wired money. How quickly do you think I can go between $3 million wired to my account to like in market lending to consumers?
yeah.
Like, what do you think bare minimum timeline looks like?
I'll do you one better. Usually they have this up and running before they get the VC wire.
Wow.
You know what they do? They use our system to actually raise that money.
Talk me through that. Like, if you were advising a fintech founder, like, what would you say they need to go do before
That's
they
right. We have a
raise?
startup package on our website,
Okay.
$9.99 a month to use. Okay.
ten
You sub
dollars or $100?
n-
$1,000.
$1,000, right? To
$1,000.
use. Just get it
Okay.
started. You know, nothing to write home about. Everything we do is private labeled. So you get a domain, you use LendAPI, you could basically put apply.yourdomain.com, right? The whole flow, right? And then people use that to go raise money. Hey VC, I've already built it. I'm already in market. Here's a first application. So the bootstrap founders love us because they can literally get to market for $1,000. Isn't that crazy? Otherwise,
That's
they have to
wild
raise that
for
VC
a
money
lending
to
for a
hire the people.
lending product.
That's right.
Yeah, I
We just
mean,
have a lender.
I want to say 20 years ago, this was going to cost you 7 figures to get
That's
into
right.
market. Yeah.
So it's the flip around. We just launched a lender in Texas. They want to lend against, the deductible for your health insurance, right? To kind of bridge you a little bit. He didn't have to raise any money. He's like, oh, I can do this myself. And then once I set it up, run a couple of applications, then I go raise money from VCs because once that startup is post product, post revenue, it's the
Hmm.
dollar, right? The VC conversation is different than, hey, I need $3 million to build something versus I need $3 million to grow something. That's a completely different conversation. And we help these startups. I mentioned this earlier. We help people that wants to be a fintech, but don't want to because they're fearful of that 7-figure commitment on technology. We changed all that landscape to here it is. It should be as easy as go to WordPress, go to GoDaddy. Um, isn't that crazy? We completely flip that script and say, hey, if you want to get into the market, get into the market. Now the tool is available for you to do it. Don't worry about building into this stuff. At least come up with a logo, come up with a brand, come up with a domain. We can take care of all of this. And then when you go and raise, it's a whole different conversation. Slides. Hey, let me show you a demo.
Hmm. It's in
That's a much,
market. People can
right.
use it now. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. UVC could apply for my loan product today
That's
if you
right.
wanted to.
That's right. And that's a much
That's
powerful
wild.
statement.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Do you work with credit card fintechs as well?
we do. And we we helped actually a bank to launch a credit card product. They have a credit QSO, credit union service organization. They found us and we launched a credit card for them. And it's no, I mean, they have a secured, unsecured card. It's a little bit different than personal loans. And it goes right into a Fiserv Primax kind of a car
Mm,
servicing tool. And we get the
yeah,
18-digit number, 16-digit number in real time,
sure.
all of that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about transaction processing, all of that. Is Fiserv your kind of your preferred partner there, or do you have other folks you work with?
Yeah, we're a Switzerland. We're integrated with just about everybody. One of our partners is PortX. PortX. You gotta give a shout out to those guys. They've done all that hard work to wire against all of the ancient or not too distant sort of past cores, and you just have to ping PortX's API to insert any type of a bank account opening or loans into the Fiservs, the FISs, the Jack Henrys of the world. So if we don't have a direct connection, we can use PortX to do integration. And I think there's Sandbox banking as well, but I think Sandbox got acquired by nCino maybe a couple of months ago. I don't
Okay.
remember, a couple of weeks ago maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so Tim, walk us through your revenue model. There's a lot of things you do here. Is it
Yeah.
all like SaaS monthly fee, or are there other ways you guys make money?
Yes, we priced it into something that's digestible. We have these cute names like, Scale, Core, Pro Edition, and like I mentioned before, we just came out with our startup package to help fintech startups or even brands, right? They get started without a whole lot of uh, rebuttals around cost, right? We keep on lowering the cost. So it's on the lower end, it's about if you break it down to transaction wise, it's about $1 plus per application. On the higher end, it's like 60, 70 cents per application. And you get a whole conglomerate of tools. The product studio, you can build products. The rule studio, you can build rules. Um, all of the connectivity. Basically, it's a SaaS model, but in every single one of our packages, we have enough application allowances built in to help you to grow. We do have big enterprises that blow through that. So we have custom pricing for those guys. But in essence, is something that again, I like to use the phrase total cost of ownership. It's one thousandth of if you want to piece it together, or even go to several of our competitors and piece them together, because we don't have a setup fee, we don't have a setup cost. We don't charge you an hourly rate for changes. You go in there and do the changes yourself. Um, there's very little maintenance. It's like, you set up a website on GoDaddy, you don't ever think about it again. right? So that's the thing that we're trying to create here is that it shouldn't cost somebody $1 million to get a piece of software where you have to call them and they will have to charge you $300 an hour to make a change
Right.
as little as a 800 number on your contract, right? And you
Right.
have to wait 3 weeks for it. That's just that I can't do business like that today.
This is a quick plug here for my marketing agency. It's called New Market Growth. We do nothing but help fintech lenders accelerate their growth in affiliate marketing channels. Our services are both strategic and operational. And if you want to learn more about how we can help you, find us at newmarketgrowth.com or email me directly at carlos@newmarketgrowth.com. Does that dollar per application cover me on like credit bureau data costs, or is the data cost on top of that?
Yeah, so we do have our source of data for credit and KYC, KYB. So you can buy it through us. And the cost is like 1/10 of the cost because we're like a Costco now. But if you don't want to, you're completely free to bring your own credentials in, and you will pay these third parties like Plaid or TransUnion directly.
Got it.
Our core cost is basically the platform cost. Now, it does include all the emails and text messaging, all that stuff. So that's included. You don't have to pay any. You don't
So
have
it
to.
sounds like you
No,
pass through data cost directly to the
that's right.
customer. You're
Plaids
not
and
upcharging or adding anything there.
no, no, we don't. In
Okay.
fact, if you want to buy data through us, it's actually probably half the cost of what you buy from
Good, yeah, because you have more scale than
That's right.
the
Yeah,
the, the
we
customer
pass
would
that
likely
scale
have.
down to
Yeah.
people. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what's the big picture vision here? Like what
Yeah.
you're describing already sounds kick ass, and you're only a year into this. Like
Yeah.
what's the big picture vision of what you want to build here?
Our vision statement is launch any financial products instantly, right? So that's our vision statement. So whatever we do, we have to check ourselves. Is it to our vision? If it's not, stop doing it. What I wanted to be is one-stop shop for you to launch any financial products. And that includes capital markets. So we just launched LendAPI
Mm.
Capital. You probably see it on our website,
Okay.
right? The panacea for all of this is capital. So we're talking to a lot of private credit guys, a lot of banks. Checking accounts, great. Everybody wants those. But on credit side, we're talking to a lot of private credits. They're coming to our platform because they don't want to compete with the Black Rocks and Blue Rocks of the world, whatever those guys are, right? They said, well, you guys have unique assets. Once you see some performance on these assets, we like to talk to founders, right?
Mm.
So I'm playing that role now. We formalized it because we have a lot of people banging our doors on both ends, right? Hey, Tim, I'm table funding some of this myself. Could you help me to raise some money on the debt facility, the capital markets? I'm like, yeah, no problem. We talked to a lot of people anyway. So I said, well, why don't we put a landing page together to attract both sides that we actually will want to do this? So a lot of capital markets guys, they have money, they have great underwriting team and all that stuff, right? They don't have technology, which is us, to become a pagaya, right? Pagaya has technology and funds. A lot of these private credit guys wants to be a pagaya. A lot of these private credit funds wants to be their own firm, right? So but what's the distribution, which is us? We see lots of point of sale finance, lots of embedded finance, lots of this and that and this. And they have different flavors of their funds to match. Hey, we only want to do personal loans, advance rates of this, or we love embedded finance, but it's got to be asset backed. So we're doing that matching work, just getting started. So we're talking to private credit funds. I'm having that conversation as well. So the vision for me is the product vision is launch any product instantly. The company vision is one-stop shop. We'll give you the technology. We'll make the introductions to capital markets. Um, the, we will make introductions to banks that would like to lend their charter out for banking as a kind of a charter as a service. But what we can do, I guess, the only thing we can do is apply for a California financial lender's license for you,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
You got to do something. But there are tons of people out there that can help. They're on our marketplace as well. So we're trying to do as much as we can to resolve a lot of these issues for lenders, for fintech, curious companies that says, you know what, I have everything except for technology to come online. That's the ultimate goal, to make it so much easier, just like WordPress. like GoDaddy, right? Everybody could have their own website now.
Yeah, you mentioned
Well,
capital markets, you're mentioning distribution, like, from point of sale, and then the only piece you haven't talked about yet, which maybe it fits, maybe it doesn't, is also getting into the venture game and actually being
uh-huh.
an incubator for fintech lenders. Have you thought about that?
No, I have not. Cardinals may be something we can build together. My God, yes. In some ways, right? So I was having this conversation with our newly minted advisor. She's going to sign, I'm going to out her maybe today, later on this call, after this call. Um, she's very sort of, she's a champion for, some underserved markets, right? They're underserved from a banking perspective. They're also underserved from technology perspective, right? So there's a lot of communities out there, and I certainly talked to a lot of them that they may not even be able to afford our pricing, and our pricing is like already pretty efficient. So we sometimes dole out, huge discounts, sometimes 80, 90% discounts. Just help a community to set something this up. So deliver a credit, deliver all of this stuff, right? Um, so in some ways we are in the venture game, but our expectation is just help people out,
Mhm.
community venture, if you will, right? With those no expectations. What I like to see it's basically our tool be given to people and create a whole new economy, for
Got it.
people, right? So we're going to release our new mortgage application, mortgagepos.ai. We got to play that game now. Mortgagepos.ai. It's not live yet. We're going to get that going soon. And it's going to be free to use. So mortgage brokers, real estate agents, whoever that wants to submit an application, could be two gals in a garage, right? Just want to start a thing because they have a relationship established with a wholesale division at Loan Depot or Quick Loans or, whatever it might be. So we're going to give them this tool. It'll take the entire 1003 application. It'll generate the MISMO file, 3.4, 3.6, whatever it might be, and they can take this file and make money, right? And we will figure out how to make money later ourselves. But I want to enable maybe 1 million people uh, to get into the mortgage game, right? And all they were missing was, 10 grand a month to get a piece of software that does what I just described. But we're gonna make that free. Isn't that crazy? So
That's
yes,
awesome.
we're
So
we're
this is
gonna
like the
we're
long
gonna
tail
do it.
of lenders being enabled, right?
Right,
That's what.
exactly, right? So you can do a
Yeah.
whatever, we don't have to name names, right? But that's like 100 grand setup fee, 10 grand a month to use, and you gotta hit some minimums, but why should we live like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, Especially because when, there's a whole slew of AIs sort of, eliminating jobs. And if you go to Reddit and go to the layoff subreddit, these are all like really smart people, right? Could do a lot of different things, but their jobs just happen to be limited by automation, whatever it might be. So we're going to take it upside down. We're going to give you the software. We can give you the AI software to make a living. Isn't that crazy? So when you talk about venture, we think about it, or at least I think about it a little bit
Yep.
differently, right? What's really missing here, right? Is a software. It's a file format. It's just a big word processor. I already built it. Go ahead.
Well, it's software and access to capital, right? And that's
Yeah.
the two things
Well,
you're talking about.
for you to put a mortgage application together, you don't have to have capital. Just a phone call and a piece of software. You take that file,
Oh, if you want to be a broker, you're saying.
you jam it
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Quicken Loans wholesale division, right? They get a
Yeah.
new application, and if it fits, that's a $3,000-4,000 payout for these guys, right? So it doesn't require somebody to, if you get laid off, right? You're whatever, right? Project manager, for example, marketing manager. Shoot, do I have to retrain myself to code, like, to understand OpenAI? No, that's a whatever, right? But now you have this piece of tool that you can become your broker, your mortgage broker. You know a lot of people, do something, right? It doesn't require a whole lot of skill set. So, on one hand, technology automation is taking away jobs. I get that, right? It's been happening throughout human history. It's just happening a little bit faster now. So I want to give this technology to people to say, you know what, I'm going to use this technology to make a living. And mortgage is still one of the biggest financial trades in everybody's life.
Right.
So why can't you be a broker or agent? Fill an application, collect information, and then the system will create a file that you need, right, to give it to a bank to see if they can underwrite it.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned, and you actually posted on social media earlier that you were celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the business. Give us kind of the snapshot highlights. Like, how much money have you raised, revenues, customer, whatever you're willing to share. Give us a
Yeah.
picture here of what's going on with inside the
Yeah.
business.
It's all a bit of a public information. So we're lucky to raise $3.5 million of seed back in November. Uh, and that was the first time I've ever raised venture money. All the business
So
I've
you
built.
were November, like 4 months ago, November.
Yeah, that was 4 months ago.
Okay,
It was really
that was
tough.
the first money you've raised.
First venture I've ever raised. Everything I've
Okay,
all done
got it,
before is all bootstrapped and,
got it.
friends and family. From Alley Corp out of New York, Cohen Circle out of New York, Great North Ventures out of Minnesota, Twin Cities, Techstars, Plug and Play, and there's a local VC here, Interlock, all put money in. Um, right now we're running about 1.2 plus million ARR, um, which is a sloth, and everything could be faster, quicker. My goal here is to get to about 3 to 4 million ARR. If you translate that into a, kind of a monthly figure, it's about 200, 250K a month for me to have a legitimate conversation with our Series A round investors. So that's my goal. From that perspective, that's my singular goal, how to get to that number quicker. Repeatable, verifiable AR, obviously. So we have a lot of new clients sign up. We do have a little bit of a growing pains where we got to staff up in certain departments that kind of cradle through this stage of our company, but there's no shortage of demand. That's absolutely the truth. There's just people signing up. We got to get them queued up to get started, and and we also have a whole slew of product releases that we are also working on. So the capacity is, do we help customers or do we build additional features so they can help themselves? There's a constant balancing act here. But we're beefing up our engineering. We made 2 offers here. Hopefully they'll show up in this very office in California. Can't wait for them to start. We have a bunch of development shops around the world. Our CTO, Sam, is working his tail off 24/7, just like me. Everybody's pulling their weight here because we see it. We see how our clients react when they see this thing. We can see that, a lot of the anxiety gets lifted off because, again, the CTO says, "Holy shit, I don't have to do all that stuff and go to market quicker. I'm a hero." Right? The risk management people says, "Oh, okay, we can actually try different things to really optimize our portfolio. I'm a hero." The CTO says, "Oh my God, I'm the real hero because I can talk to my VCs and say, hey boys, that 7-figure year marked, I reduced that one to nothing, and we can focus on really go-to-market strategy and product market fit for them, as opposed to worry about how do we build a decision engine." No need to. This thing is tried and true. We process millions of transactions through the systems a day.
How many lenders are using the product right now?
We have 20 plus lenders actively using our system right now. We got some big ones that are doing 250,000 transactions a day. Even the small ones are doing 2,000-3,000 because they're taking leads from lead generators,
Sure.
thousands an hour. And we constantly tuning our fork here to make it faster. Because sometimes these big clients will run a huge marketing campaign relating to some known social media people that we all know, and we have to hold on to our tables and do tests for almost a month and a half to take on that volume simultaneously.
Got it.
So yeah, we got to be.
Do you connect lenders to aggregators, lead gen providers? Is that part of the business model right now? And if
Yeah,
not, are you thinking about that?
yeah, 100%. So there's all the well-known lead generators, right? So from Commission Junction to you name them. So they all have our API, set up a campaign, set up a code. They start sending applications, and we have varying stages of lead filtering or underwriting. Some people buy 20% what they see. Some people buy 7% what they see, and then afterwards, they ask people to crawl through glass with Plaid or decision logic and all that stuff before they
Got
even
it.
see the offer. So a lot of different people use a different strategy when it comes to lead generation or lead buying.
So
Yeah,
the CJs are sending the applications and your lenders are bidding on the application, or
they're
how does
bidding
it
on the
work?
application, where they have a deal with the lead gen and say, hey, I want to see this at 15.5, it's 15.10, $5 or $1.
Got
And
it.
if I see, and we do a lot of price reject as well. If they see a 25, but it's worth 10, no, but we'll wait until we see it at, if it pitching goes all the way down to 10, they will buy it. There's a lot of that stuff going on. People making art out of this thing, but now they can actually visualize the entire, buying flow in our, rules builder. So they can see, they can see it exactly how these things potentially go all the way down to the yes decision.
Very cool.
And they can run
Very cool.
2, 3 these strategies together at the same time, 90% this way, 5% that way, to test out any new strategy they want to test out. So we do A/B testing on the lead buy strategies.
I want to pause here to put in a good word for one of our sponsors, Fiat Growth. They're a strategic marketing consultancy dedicated to data-driven decisions, innovation, and execution. Just to give you an example of some of the services they provide, which are quite broad: paid media advertising, marketing and sales, tech stack, lifecycle marketing, go-to-market strategy, creative services, conversion rate, partnerships, accounting and/or tax services. If you're a fintech or an insurtech, check them out. Find them at fiatgrowth.com. Before we wrap here, Tim, because we're almost up on time, I noticed on the weekends you have a Substack and you're posting, you're very transparent,
Yeah.
wins, losses, you're kind of getting
Yeah.
into the weeds of what's going on at the company. Like, walk us through why you're building in public.
Yeah. So Sam and I, my co-founder Sam and I, went through a tech accelerator out of New York, TechStars. So I actually spent about 3 weeks living in New York City, getting trained, coach, mentored, and all that stuff, right? And the first thing they said is, hey, every week you got to write your win losses and your asks. So I've been certainly sort of coached by it, and it's actually a stress reliever for me. You and I, we're working 24/7, Carlos. And there's no stopping point, like a reset point. So I say, you know what? I don't know what I did this past week. So what I've done is I did 2 versions of this. Actually, we do a release note every Friday, every Sunday, a full blown release note, and I write everything that's happening to the company, and it's on our website. Then I publish a more private, personal version on Substack. Has a little bit more information, has different angle to what we've done, and it's a good place for me to go through my calendar and sometimes my emails to say, who do I meet? What did I promise to these people? Right? Kind of a journal, if you will, a diary, to say, well, we've actually done a lot of stuff, and it is a sort of a health check or look back and say, you know what, the journey ahead is unknown. At least what I do know is what I did in the past 7 days, and it helps. I think helps me mentally to kind of stay on track, to not get into this um, vortex of despair. I know all of us, listening or on this podcast have that, right? It's like, what did I do? What did I accomplish? Gosh, did I do a day worth of honest day of work? So that really helps me to do a mental reset. And one thing I hate the most is imprecise language. And all that means to me is honesty and transparency. And people read that stuff, surprisingly to me. Like, even if you don't subscribe to it, you can read it, and I get a lot of feedback from it, and it really helps me because those feedback keeps me going. There's some weird ones out there, but that's what I wanted to hear, right? So I don't know. It's the best pill I can take on a weekly basis, if you will, to kind of help me understand where I stand.
So it sounds like it's meditative to some degree.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Therapeutic. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my word.
Meditative, therapeutic.
Yeah.
I don't have I don't build in public personally because I'm very nervous around people that don't have all the context, how they may
Yes.
interpret it, and whether it's
Yes.
good for my so like but I hear what you're saying, and
And very open up.
your ethos and your whole how you're building the business. It seems very complementary to just a high degree of transparency,
Yeah.
and even you sharing like revenues, customers, like
Yeah.
very few companies at your stage I think
Yeah.
are eager to share that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's already even coming through in this conversation.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, I look forward to kind of. And actually, one question I had is you
Yeah.
were saying feedback. Is that from investors? Is that from customers? Like where is that feedback coming from? Or is it random
Yes.
people on the internet that have an opinion on the
Yeah.
business?
Friends and foe, Um, our investors can give us feedback all the time because I solicit that feedback almost on a daily basis. I text them, I harass them more than I should. And mostly our clients. Like I wrote something even this morning, right? I wrote something on my Sunday newsletter. My clients are reaching out to me and say, "Hey, I can help you with X, Y, and Z." Right? You can't ask for that relationship. My clients are paying me to use my service, are willing to help me to grow my business. Where else can I ask for that, right? So, it's just that, right? And then there's something on our website. It's called LendAPI Academy. Every bit of our platform is recorded by our head of product, Kay. So she does a webinar style kind of a thing. Hey, here's how to build a rule. Here's how to build a product. And even internally, we have a lot of struggles. Like, do we really want to show people how this thing works?
Mm.
What about our competitors looking at this stuff on a daily basis? And we have a lot of these internal conversations. I'm like, I am, I'm sure that they already seen everything that we built. That's we have a sign up button, right? It doesn't take a whole lot to kind of get an email address to kind of sign up. But that's okay because that's our way of being slightly sort of bellicose to say, you know what, look, nothing we build is really groundbreaking. It's all in my head, but we did it. We executed on it, right? You can look at a strategy page all day long. You can read my Sunday newsletter all day long, but can you execute this in the amount of time we're doing it? And can you convince customer to use these features? So like, I'm not fearful of competitors, whoever look at this stuff, like, go ahead, um, see if you can do it. And you've been around for 10 years. If you can't do it, you would have done it already. So, that's my little bit of a competitive edge showing. But yeah, we somebody hashtag build in public and you've used it here. I'm like, yeah, that's probably what we're doing here. But I like that transparency aspects of it. I don't know what it is. you know, um, I think we will attract more clients and more people that's going to try this platform than, um, I don't know, maybe some adversarial or negative feedback. So far, it's been working for us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to hit one thing you mentioned earlier. You said you're only on LinkedIn effectively for social media.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm posting almost every day on LinkedIn. I see you
Yeah.
posting many times a day. So what, like, walk me through how that, like, what's the method behind the madness here on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So, I don't have like a calendar. I've been certainly trained to have, you got to do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, this and that and this, right? Stuff just comes to me naturally, I guess, right? There's stuff I want to say, and I think about it, and either I write it in the car or whatever, right? So there's stuff that there's stuff I just want to have piece of a social commentary about whatever I'm seeing. It doesn't have to be technology. And then look, our platform, our marketplace, people we talk to kind of they produce content on its own, right? The weekly newsletter, that's all stuff that we do and we hear. And then release notes is just code that we release on a weekly basis. We release like hundreds of thousands of tickets. I only write about 10% of it because the other stuff is not really relevant. Um, and our marketplace, people join our marketplace every week. And when I do one, I do a social post. Hey, here's somebody new that's doing KYC in this world, and I think this is unique. What's unique about those guys? And um, I don't know. These ideas or content just comes to me. Like I have no problem sitting through um, Google Doc and start blank. I'll just start writing them. And these aren't AI. They're like I actually write them. I can show you my Google Doc, and there's like hundreds and hundreds of pages of blogs I've written. Um, and I do some book reviews as well. I'm reading this one right now. Um, Unsecured Lending Risk Management by Frank Tian.
Okay.
Um, so I'm all the way through. I'm going to write a review about this and to tell people about this book in credit risk management. So yeah, I don't have any writer's block. And in between meetings, I
And
may
no
do something.
ghostwriter, just to be clear. This is all your stuff
I write
on
everything
LinkedIn.
myself. Isn't that crazy? And I've done it for so many years. I'll sit here and write a
How much
thousand
time
word.
ballpark are we talking about here per week on
Yeah.
social media?
Um, I think I spend all my time on it, right? That's my source of news
No, but
as
as far as
well.
content creation, like, is it an
Oh,
hour a
I'll give
day? Is
you
it 2 hours a day? Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll give you a gauge.
Yeah.
I probably spend 2-3 hours a day, compressed all in one, and I can
Mm.
write 1,000 word content about decision whatever it might be in about 30-40 minutes because I already know
Wow.
what to
Okay.
write.
Yeah, it's
It
pretty
just comes
fast.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know all the categories. So yeah, it's with everything. It's just
And is
practice.
AI in your workflow for editing, for iterations, or is it all just you?
No, I think if I use AI, it dilutes the SEO ranking. So I just write them. So if there's any idiosyncrasies, grammatically speaking, well, I do spell checker, right? At least that's as a minimum. Um, I think that helps because it's a real person writing it, and I actually have a whole army of people out there. Every time I publish something, they'll actually text me, "Hey, there is actually spelled THERE." One, it shows that it's not AI,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Two, I'm not perfect, so I maybe that's the only thing that I need to work on is maybe proofreading some of the stuff that I write. Uh,
Yeah.
but I tend to just get the thing out and see what the
Yeah.
reaction is from the crowd. And I have no expectations. I don't care if nobody rates this stuff.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
fun
mean,
for me to
it
do it.
lands as authentic. It lands as you.
Yeah,
I find them fun even if I don't learn about anything
yeah,
related to the industry.
yeah.
I think you might have set the record, by the way, for FinTech Meetup. The number of selfies I saw from you in your feed
Oh, yeah,
was extraordinary. I don't know how
yeah,
many you posted, but
yes,
I probably only saw like 10% in my
yeah. And I
feed. But
posted
then later I
half.
like,
I'm seeing some good ones.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people come up and just want to take pictures. So I'm like a zoo animal or something. And then I got a message yesterday from one of my friends, like the only thing I regret about FinTech meetup is to take a picture with me. I'm like, next time we can Photoshop it. Yeah, no, I just, this is what I love to do. So I come to work, I'm not working, I'm just having fun, solving problems, man. I mean, that's what I love to do. And I think the entire team on our LendAPI loves to do that. Everybody pulls their weight. We're just solving problems. And our tool really helps in that process that we're not thinking about building from scratch. It's like, here it is, drag and drop, piece it together. If you don't want to do it, take a template and modify it, and it's just getting better and better and better, in my opinion.
no, it's
Yeah.
this is so I came in today expecting to talk about underwriting models and that's it. Like I hear Lend API, it's like, oh, it's an API to host a model. That's it,
Yeah.
right? But like you've
Yeah.
completely reframed this for me, and now I'm viewing you guys as like democratizing lending
Yeah.
for like the little guy
Yes.
can come in, launch a product, and go for it, which I love. I've
Yes.
written
Yeah.
about this by the way, and like my personal thesis here in the category is we're gonna find lenders with less than 10 people in the whole organization that build to
Yeah.
$1 billion company.
That's right.
I think it's tools like yours that are gonna enable that sort of outcome.
That's right. Just like billion dollar companies are using Framer, Webflow, or WordPress, right? They don't even think about it anymore. So we're that layers of infrastructure.
Well, this is awesome, man. There's a glimpse into the future of fintech.
Yeah.
Tim, I appreciate you taking the time with us today. This was awesome conversation. Wishing you guys the best as you continue to
Thank
build
you.
and
We're
secure that
friends.
Series A. And yeah,
Oh
no, and
yeah.
yeah,
We're
look forward
friends.
to
We
keeping
talk
into
every day. So
contact. I mean,
yeah.
I'd love to have you on the show again to keep talking about this stuff. I
Yeah.
think we could go forever. But this is awesome. I'm hoping fintech marketers and fintech founders out there are inspired by this and give you a call and start using your stuff to bring
Yeah.
innovative things to market.
Sign up on our website. It's that easy. No credit cards necessary.
How can folks find you, Tim? What's the best way to contact you?
LinkedIn, Timothy Lee. Go onto our website, lendapi.com. I'm really easy to find. You can just search my name on Google. But I'm really easy to find on LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm an open book. You can call me, text me. I'm on the This Week in FinTech Slack channels and WhatsApp groups. I'm very accessible.
Cool.
Yeah.
And where in the world do you spend most of your time?
I'm here in Orange County, Southern California, by Disneyland. I do travel a lot, but this is my home base.
Home
Southern
base,
California.
Orange County.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm there from time to time, so I'll hit you
Stop
up
by.
next time I'm there.
Yeah.
Cool, Tim. All right, appreciate it. If you want to support the show, the number one thing you can do is go to thefreetoaster.com and sign up for our newsletter. You're going to get a couple pieces per week of news, information, insights, and podcasts like the one you're listening to right now at the intersection of marketing, lending, and technology. That's our niche. We don't plan to go outside of that. It's the only publication I've seen out there on the internet that dials into this zone. So if you want to support us, sign up and share it in your favorite Slack channel.